Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Calm Radio. This episode was not the scheduled one. Normally Calm Radio normally updates every Sunday. Today is Wednesday, but I just felt like I needed to make this episode. It's going to be more talking than this one, just because I really want to say what's been going on with me. But being honest, I haven't really been feeling that great. I'm sure many people can relate. It's just been a rough period of time for all of us. So this is like a little check-in moment. I truly don't even know what I'm going to do in this episode. We'll figure it out. A little talking moment, maybe an ASMR moment. But I normally like to storytell. The past few episodes have been me storytelling, so I think today will be one of those days. So the story I'll be focusing on today is actually one of my own. This is a little adaptation of Rapunsel that I made to set a different time period in a different world. But I just really wanted to tell this story. So without further ado, I give to you Rapunzel. Sometimes you don't always get what you wish for. In fact, it probably ends up becoming worse. That's what happens when you let desire consume you. At least it's what happened to Ana Elena and Benito Villaseñor. The couple had longed for a child and had tried for many years, but unfortunately failed every time. But one day, to their surprise, it had finally happened. Ana Elena was pregnant. She and Benito were overjoyed. After waiting so long, God had finally granted their wishes. Each day, Ana Elena's belly grew more and more. Benito couldn't help but be in awe of her sudden transformation. As weeks flew by, Ana Elena's cravings started to become vicious. She would be in agony for days if she wasn't able to consume what her body so desperately needed. And because the couple was quite poor, Benito often didn't have enough money to buy the obscure, obtainable things she longed for. One day, as Benito came home from a long day at the market, he noticed that Ana Elena wasn't feeling well. She was writhing with pain on the floor. His heart started to ache. Immediately, he called for the village healer. By the time that the healer came, Ana Elena was pale, sickly, and frail. They laid her upon the bed where she rested. After the healer did a thorough inspection, he said that The cure that she needs is the rampion. If she doesn't have it, then she'll die. Benito was conflicted. His wife was sick, and if she didn't need the rampion, she would most likely die, and their child would be lost. But on the other hand, he knew who owned the garden. She was known to everyone as Mama Juana. Now, Mama Juana had a complicated history. No one knows the specifics, but if you ask any of the villagers, they'll simply say, Mama Juana, no te metas con Mama Juana. Ella es una bruja. Ella va a poner una maldición de ti. Mama Juana was known to practice brujeria, otherwise known as witchcraft. The one thing that everyone knew about the old woman was that she loved her garden. No one dared to steal from it. At first, Benito tried to appease Analena's cravings with greens from the market, but every time he tried to feed them to her, she would immediately feel sick to her stomach and would end up vomiting in the woods. Analena begged Benito time and time again to grab the rampion from Mama Juana's garden, but he refused. It was only until Analena had become terminally ill and was visited by the healer once again. He knew that the only solution was to steal the rampion from Mama Juana's garden. So he devised a plan. Mama Juana was usually away throughout the day, and she normally wouldn't walk the fence in the garden so that her cat could roam freely. During the morning, he would go through her friends, quickly grab the rampion, and bring it back to his wife. So the next morning, as soon as Mama Juana was out of sight, he set out. He quickly went through the fence and walked around the garden. He searched the garden far and wide until he saw the rampion in the corner of the garden. He quickly grabbed a bunch and started to head back when he heard a noise. He quickly hid behind the pillar near the edge of the garden. ¿Quién estás acá? Mama Juana's voice boomed. Benito felt his heart drop to the pit of his stomach. I know you're there. You better come out or else I'll come and find you. Benito started to shake. The rampion almost slipped out of his hands. He slowly approached the woman. Now why did you steal from my garden, Marco? Tú tienes un deseo de morir, ¿qué? She calmly spoke. Benito tried to form the words, but nothing came out. They're for your wife, right? She said, looking at the plant in his hand. Benito was shocked. How did she know? Please don't kill me. I'm sorry for taking the Rapunzel. My wife will die without it. I'll do anything. I'm sorry. Benito pleaded. Anything? She said, intrigued. Benito instantly regretted that sentence. Fine, you can take the Rapunzel to your wife and let her eat. But in turn, when the baby is born, she will be mine. What? No, I don't agree, Benito yelled. Well, it's either that, or you both die. Your choice, said Mama Juana. Benito was conflicted once again. In what felt like a flash of a moment, he agreed to Mama Juana's terms. He was able to take the rampion plant to his wife. She was grateful, and without a second thought, she gobbled it all up in what seemed to be one bite. And Aleda instantly felt better after she consumed the plant. Benito then sat down with a nervous look in his eyes. So, how did you get the greens anyways? Annalena asked curiously. Benito then broke his silence and told her all about the deal that he made with Mama Juana. Annalena was heartbroken, but she knew this was the price of her life. But But then she thought, what if we don't have to give the child away? She told Benito all of the details of her plan, to which he excitedly agreed. The couple relied upon the fact that Mama Juana would forget, except they overlooked one important detail. Mama Juana never forgets. Soon 9 months had passed and Emelena went into labor. She gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. The baby's beauty was unparalleled, with her golden brown doe eyes and dark chocolate skin. Elena and Benito were ecstatic. In remembrance of the beautiful blessing of the Rapunzel plant, they named her Rapunzel. The couple spent 3 wonderful years with their beautiful daughter. They were so happy that they almost forgot about the deal that they made with Mama Juana. Maybe she forgot after all. She is an old woman, Benito thought. Little did he know that Mama Juana was waiting for the right time. One day, while Annalena was twisting Rapunzel's hair, there was a knock on the door of their little cottage. Benito opened the door, only to find Mama Juana standing there with a sick smile on her face. I've come for the child. Tu tiempo se acabó. Benito couldn't believe his eyes. He instantly felt sick to his stomach. Señora, por favor, no la tomes. She's only a child. Matarme instead, he said, with tears running down his cheeks. Cariño, ¿quién es la puerta? Elena's voice sounded from the living area. Mama Juana pushed past Benito and walked into the living area. And Elena's eyes widened. Instinctively, she firmly grabbed Rapunzel. Mamá, me duele. What's going on? Rapunzel screamed. Nada, mi amor. Cálmate. And Elena said, loosening her grip on Rapunzel's shoulders. So it's a girl. Very interesting, Mama Juana said, fixing her gaze on Rapunzel. Mamá, ¿quién es ella? Rapunzel said, looking at Mama Juana with a confused look on her face. This is the lady that's going to take wonderful care of you for the next couple of years, and Elena said with tears streaming down her face. What do you mean, Mama? ¿Por qué yo me voy? Rapunzel said as she started to cry. And Elena was silent. Mama Juana started to lead Rapunzel towards the door. No. Don't take me. Mamá, Papa, ¿a dónde voy? Rapunzel said, screaming and crying. And Elena and Benito just turned away. Rapunzel's screams were piercing, almost shrill. But after a while, they became smaller and smaller until they could no longer hear her voice. 15 years had passed, and Rapunzel had no recollection of the traumatic events that occurred in her past life. You see, Mama Juana had taken her to a tower that was a couple miles east of the village. Rapunzel's hair grew at a rate like none other. At 18 years old, her hair was down to her feet. Her hair was neatly twisted, but you could still see the outline of her luscious coils. Mama Juana came and went, but every time she came, she would ask Rapunzel to let down her hair, and from there she'd climb up into the tower. Even though it put an unimaginable strain on her neck, Rapunzel never complained. After all, it was her mother, the one that saved her from a terrible situation. So that was part 1 of Rapunzel. Stay tuned for next week, where I will be doing part 2. As always, I love you guys. Please stay safe and reach out if you need help. Alright, well, bye.